DaVinci Resolve is the way.
Been at it already, had my tarot read.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing fantastic. So today I want to talk about switching from Premiere to DaVinci Resolve. Now, I switched from Premiere to DaVinci about 3 years ago, and honestly, it's probably the best decision I could have ever made for my career. So I started my filmmaking career in video editing, and when I was looking for an editor, at the time I didn't really have money. I was basically a kid. I think I was 12 or 13, and I just wanted to make YouTube videos. Every kid wants to be, the gaming YouTuber, the cool YouTuber. They want to be famous and become a YouTuber. That was me. So when I was first starting out, I was trying to find something that was free and had enough tools that could get the job done for what I needed to do, which was edit gaming content and stuff like that. The first program I started editing with was called HitFilm 4 Express. I'm not sure if it's still around today, but honestly, that was probably one of the best programs I could have had at the time because it was decently professional, not quite super professional. It was free. It had all the sources I needed, and it was kind of easy to use. It didn't take a whole lot of time to figure out how the whole editing process worked. Now, when I was searching for an editing software, DaVinci Resolve was on the radar, but at the time it had a lot of complications with locating media for some reason. I would always import footage and it would always say media offline, and I didn't understand what the problem was. I searched YouTube far and wide and could not find a single answer, so I said screw it, and I found HitFilm 4 Express, and the rest was history. After using HitFilm 4 Express for a little bit, I did do a couple editing jobs in that program, including all of the gaming videos that I made. But then I was taking a class at school, and I was able to get Premiere Pro for free because it was part of the class requirements. At the time, Premiere was probably at its peak, and it was a great program. I was able to do professional video editing, and I started getting work from clients to do editing, and I was able to use Premiere for free because of my school. After using 2 years of the Adobe Suite for free, I had to actually start paying because I was no longer in that class that required it. So I ended up paying with the student discount, which I think was like $350 a year, which isn't terrible, but it was still money coming out that I would love to put elsewhere. I did end up using the Adobe Suite for about a year, and then I think it was winter break, and I got an email saying that your subscription was about to be charged again, and I didn't want to pay it. So at that moment, I literally was looking for other solutions to not have to pay for Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, a lot of people will talk about how glitchy Adobe is and how laggy and how it's, not the greatest program, especially for paying so much money to get a mediocre service. That really wasn't much of the case for me. It was a little laggy and it would crash sometimes when I didn't save, and that would suck. But it was mostly the price for me at the time. And when I did my research, DaVinci Resolve was kind of on the up again. And I was like, well, it has a free version and people are saying it's really good. So I gave it a shot and I haven't turned back. All right, so let's start talking about the pros of DaVinci Resolve. And we can just start with the price. Like I mentioned, they have a free version that's really, really good and a solid start to honestly anybody who's trying to get into video editing. It's the same sort of layout that most editors use, and it's pretty intuitive. So you can't really beat free. It's the best price out there. And if you do want to get the studio version, which comes with some other features like noise reduction and some other effects, that's only $300, and that's for a lifetime. You don't have to pay a subscription, nothing, no pay for updates. It's just $300, and that's it. And what's nice about using the free version is I was able to get projects and use DaVinci Resolve for free so that I could make money and eventually pay for the DaVinci Resolve Studio version. And the best thing about not having to pay the $80 a month or whatever is you have no overhead. It's a one and done, and you can use DaVinci Resolve forever. Now let's move on to color grading. Everybody knows that DaVinci Resolve is known for its color grading, and there is a very, very good reason for that. It is phenomenal, and it is light years ahead of any other editing program out there. If there's one thing that you should get DaVinci Resolve for, even if you get just the free version, it is color grading, because color grading in this program is just so much better. You have way more control over the colors that you're pushing and pulling, and you just have so many more options to manipulate your image to look exactly how you want it to. Now, it does look pretty advanced, but there are a ton of tutorials out there for you to look at and watch and learn how to use DaVinci 1, but also learn how to color correct and color grade properly to make your images exactly how you want them. When I was using Premiere, I would barely even try touching the color grade. I'd basically just add some contrast, maybe some saturation, and most likely just slap a LUT on it. And that's all I really did. But once I switched to DaVinci, I think because of its capability to do color correcting and color grading so well, I was motivated to actually learn it and to start implementing it into my videos. And because of that, my videos have become exponentially better, and I just love how they look at the end of the day. Another reason that I use DaVinci, especially for color grading, is because I shoot with the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, and I shoot B-RAW, so I'm able to push and pull colors really well. It's super manipulative, and I'm able to adjust my white balance, my ISO, everything I need, and they work really well together, and it's super efficient. Okay, now let's talk about how intuitive DaVinci Resolve is. Some people may say that Final Cut is more intuitive and it's easier to cut in Final Cut, but I think DaVinci Resolve has a couple of key features that have been really useful to me that I use all the time, and it would be really hard to go back. I think one of the most annoying things in Premiere Pro is that in order to stabilize and slow your footage down, you have to nest it. That is just so annoying and ridiculous, and DaVinci Resolve has the stabilizing feature like baked into the inspector for each clip. So all you have to do is turn it on and click stabilize, and then you can go into the timeline and retime your clip to slow it down. Another really intuitive feature that I use all the time is adding fades to audio and video. Now in Premiere, you would have to go to the effects tab and look for the dip to black or fade to whatever decibel for audio. But in DaVinci Resolve, all you have to do is this. That's it. And it's just things like that that make your editing process so much smoother and faster that you're able to edit more efficiently. Another thing that may be a little controversial is I do kind of like how all the pages are laid out. I know in Premiere that you can adjust every page to be exactly how you want it to be, but I think DaVinci Resolve has actually nailed what it should look like and feel like. So there's not really a huge complaint there. And I do also like how there are separate pages for each step of the process when you're editing, from the media to the cutting and editing to the visual effects, the color grading, audio, and then delivering. It's just a very simple process, and it takes you along the path for editing. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
New cards, new deck, new life. King of Cups, he comes up right. Always, all days, all nights. See, do I do